Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Let's talk about Tenet.
Would you be welcome to trace all of this?
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So Tenet is finally hitting theaters after a couple delays. The movie that a lot of people, were talking about, this was going to be the first kind of big blockbuster movie to really get back into theaters and was going to save, the movie theaters and everything. It's finally here. This was a movie that I was really excited for ever since I saw the initial teaser that was it was 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. That was late last year, or it might have been beginning of this year. I'm losing track of time right now. But it was the scene where it's at the opera house, and it was a 5 or 10 minute clip. And ever since that, I was like, I need to see this movie. And then I heard that Christopher Nolan was attached to it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sold. So, it's just really refreshing anytime we get a new Christopher Nolan project, because it's something that hasn't been done a million times before, and it's just really refreshing. So I was really looking forward to Tenet. Now, I can tell you guys, if you haven't already heard, this is a movie that seems to have divided some people. I can tell you it's definitely a movie, and without going into spoilers, because this is going to be a spoiler-free review, just because I know I got to see it a little bit earlier. They've done some early screenings, and just not all the theaters are open, so you don't have to worry about that. But I honestly feel like this is definitely going to be a movie that you're going to want to watch a couple times just to really fully grasp everything that Christopher Nolan is trying to say with this story. And it's a movie that you're gonna need to watch again. I know after my initial viewing, me and a couple of my buddies, after the movie, we were sitting out talking in the parking lot almost for a good hour, just about the movie and what we thought certain things meant and stuff like that. And there was I got the basic idea down, but there was points during the film where I was just like, wait, what's going on? So without going into too much detail, the basic idea of this movie, it's basically Christopher Nolan's attempt at a spy type of film. You have this protagonist, and he is trying to retrieve this object in this slash technology, because he's trying to prevent basically almost World War III, worldwide destruction. And then you also, but not only just that, Christopher Nolan, he obviously takes it to the next level. But with this, he ends up bringing to the table this idea that you get to see things happening in reverse. And it was really cool to see that, actually happening on the big screen. The number of different scenes where you get to see that, take place. It was really cool. This is definitely a movie, if you do feel comfortable, I would say this is definitely a movie. Try to see this on the biggest screen possible. And that's because, I can think of just a handful of scenes off the top of my head that are made to be seen on the big screen. And it was kind of cool. When we saw this movie, there was actually, I thought it was a trailer for Tenet at first, and I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. We have a trailer for the movie we're about to see. But it was actually almost sort of kind of a behind the scenes little thing that they had for Tenet, and it was about 10 minutes long, and they were just kind of talking about how they filmed certain things, which in a way I was like, I hope they don't give away all the plot points and in this little featurette. But it was cool because during the film, when these big scenes were happening, I kind of really appreciated it a little bit more, just because I knew that everything was, for the most part, done on a practical level, which is always cool. CGI definitely has its place, but anytime you can do something realistically or using practical effects and stuff like that, I always appreciate that much more. I thought overall the cast was pretty solid. John David Washington, I thought he was pretty solid as the protagonist. It was really cool to see Robert Pattinson in this movie, because it almost, I feel kind of gives us a little preview as to seeing him as Bruce Wayne, the Batman next year. So man, it's just crazy to think with him too, where he's come from, started off in the Twilight films, and he's just been killing it lately. So it just gets me way more excited for the Batman. You also have Elizabeth Debicki, if I'm saying her last name right. and then Kenneth Branagh. They all put in really, really excellent performances, and I was really invested in these characters, especially Kenneth. I thought that as the villain, he did a good job. He was menacing. You really believed that he was a threat. So that always, obviously goes a long way with any kind of movie. I thought the score was amazing. There was like several times during the film where I caught myself just kind of like bobbing my head. I was like, man, this is definitely something that when it releases on, iTunes or whatever, I have to download this because I'm going to want to listen to this in my car. So I thought the score was fantastic, and that was done by Ludwig Göransson. And it's not Christopher Nolan's, typical collaborator Hans Zimmer, but I thought that he killed it with this score. It was a lot of fun. The only nitpick, and I've heard a couple other people mention this, which I did see that throughout the film, there was some scenes where, and it was more like the sound like mixing, there was some scenes where I think the music was maybe a little too loud because it was kind of overshadowing some of the dialogue. But it wasn't something that like completely bugged the crap out of me. It was just like a few moments like here and there. Obviously you want this movie, I think, to be loud because of the type of movie it is, how grand it is, and seeing it in like an IMAX like theater, definitely want it to be loud. But there was just a couple times where it overshadowed like the dialogue and kind of had a hard time understanding what they were saying. And as I said, visually, this movie, I think, is stunning. There was so many scenes that I was just like, man, I am so happy that I'm able to see this on an IMAX screen, the biggest screen possible. I mean, I wish I could have seen it at the Jordan's IMAX in Massachusetts. I just don't feel 100% comfortable going down there quite yet. But we have our little like mini IMAX here in New Hampshire, and that's the next best thing. And I just thought that seeing a lot of these scenes take place, you have to see it on the big screen, I think, to really grasp like the full effect and the visual scope of this movie. And that's something that Nolan, I feel like, always brings to all of his films. Even if it's something some people might not like the movie overall, usually people wholeheartedly agree that at least like the visual like aspect and the technical like points are always on point with Nolan films. I would say the biggest negative for me, and it's kind of almost hard to, I feel like, put it as like a negative, is just that this is a very hard to follow film at times. It's really something that you got to pay attention to, because there was a few times that my buddy went over to say something to me or whatever, and it was like maybe like 2 seconds, and I felt myself like as soon as I was focusing back like on the movie, I was like, wait, like what's going on, like. And that, it was, like I said, it was only like a few seconds. It wasn't like we were like talking for like a few minutes or anything like that. So you definitely got to pay attention. And I really believe that this will be a movie, with multiple viewings, you're going to pick up on new things. So like I said, in a way, it's a negative because I feel like, it's the story can feel a little convoluted. But at the same time, I think I'm going to appreciate it, especially going back, picking up like new things, because that's always cool when you can watch a movie multiple times and get new things out of it. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10, and I think that score could possibly go up, like I said, with, a second, third, like, viewing. So, but I'm curious, if you guys have got a chance to see the movie, definitely let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Just please, avoid spoilers. A lot of people won't be able to see it till this weekend, and possibly not till like after that, so definitely keep it spoiler free. But I'm definitely curious to see what you think and where this ranks as far as Christopher Nolan's movies all time. So make sure to let me know. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Also, hit the thumbs up on this video. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate you guys who can do that with this video. And make sure to check back. I do actually, that this weekend I'll be watching Mulan, so I'll have a review for that. Gonna be doing like more like Halloween spooky kind of stuff coming up too, so definitely keep an eye out for all that stuff. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.